Rahim. Huzur says all praise belong to Allah because with His blessing we are able to participate in another Jalsa Salana. Some people are participating for the first time, and there are many such people those who have the facility of travel arrangements and visa, so they have been participating in these Jalsa every year. The residents of UK are such people who are participating in the Jalsa for the first time. It's only some time ago they have come here or settled, or there are some children when they have grown up for the first time, they will be benefiting from the atmosphere of the Jalsa for the first time. So all these people, during these 3 days of Jalsa, all of them, they should try to benefit from the spiritual atmosphere of the Jalsa. The programs of the Jalsa, the program should be listened with silence and care and attention. Only then it will be useful for them to attend this Jalsa. And the purpose of holding this Jalsa by the promised Messiah ﷺ, they would be fulfilling that. As all the people know that the arrangements of the Jalsa Salana, all of it are at least 90% of that, particularly the programs of the Jalsa arrangements are concerned. The members of the community, they are performing all these duties on voluntary basis. So therefore, in certain jobs, and there are some deficiency and defects and shortcomings, but these things, all the people who are participating, we have to rectify collectively and we have to make them right. While the workers, while they analyze their own performance and jobs, they try to make it better and correct. At the same time, the guest should, and all the participants as well, they should also ignore these shortcomings if there is there, and if there is any help needed by the volunteers, they should voluntarily offer themselves for the help of the workers. The unity will be established among us only in that case when we are ready to shoulder the burdens of other people, and if the need of help is there, we are ready to help them. So this particular point is to be kept in mind to all the guests and the workers. And generally speaking, the workers and the host, regarding their responsibilities and duties, I mention something in 1 week before the Jalsa. I do mention these things, and in the khutbah delivered on the Jalsa day, I mentioned to the people who are attending the Jalsa regarding their responsibilities. The Huzur says that our gatherings, rather the whole management of the Jamaat, the beauty of that is that either we can live amicably only in that case when we take care of the responsibilities and the rights and the duties of one another, and we are performing these things in a very best possible manner, and we understand it and perform it. Anyway, Huzur says today I would like to address both the people, the workers and the guests. I will be saying something, and I will draw their attention to certain points. To the workers, I did not say anything for the workers, but last Sunday, the inspection of the arrangements which takes place before Jalsa, in that function, I drew their attention to some points that how should be their attitude and how they have to perform their duties. By the grace of Allah, for a long period, these workers, and a majority of them, we can say, they have been performing these duties. So therefore, so far as the question of understanding the responsibility and to perform them in a good way is concerned, the workers here, they are quite educated and experienced. And every year those people who come new and join this fold, and the children as well, and the youngsters, and similarly the previous workers and the officers, they do, benefiting from their experience, they do give them some sort of training, but there are certain things which require very special attention, and there is a need to remind the workers about those things. So therefore, at this time, I would like to draw the attention of both the workers and the guest. As I said, the very first thing is, which is important for the workers, that they have offered themselves for the service of those people who are actually the guests of the promised Messiah ﷺ, and the Jalsa which was started with the divine command, that Jalsa Salana is there, and they are the guest of that Jalsa. And they have not come here just to participate in a fun fair, the worldly fun fair. Rather, spiritual, academic, educational, and moral standards in order to improve the quality of that. For this purpose, they have come here. And I do hope that this is the thinking, the thinking of all those participants of the Jalsa, and that should be the case. Otherwise, their participation in Jalsa is absolutely meaningless, is futile. Anyway, the workers, they should always remember this point, that the attitude of the guest, whatever it may be, but the workers, they have to show the good moral character and good manners, and they have to take care of their sentiments and feelings. If at any time the guest or the participants, if they adopt a wrong attitude, so then it is the duty of the worker that he should control his passions and feelings. And he should not be paying back in the same coin and in the same way as the guest has done. So as the workers, just for the sake of God Almighty, they have offered them for the service of the guests of Jalsa. So then, for the sake of Allah, if some of the guests, they show wrong attitude, they have to tolerate that, and they have to bear that. And only then they will be able to get the pleasure of Allah Almighty and His blessings. The Prophet that we believe in, his noble example for the guest, what was his practical example and model? And not those guests which come regularly, or those people who come only once in a year for Jalsa, but those people as well, those people who are living in the same town, and those who have been coming almost daily. If they, because of their situation of poverty, they were invited for a food, or they were invited for to have the meal together, and they came and sat there for a very long time and talking in detail, and they were causing disturbance to your work and job. So then he never would say to them that don't come before the time, I'm busy. And then after having the food, go away quickly, because if you sit for long, then I am not able to perform some of my duties. Looking at this condition of the people, and looking at the forbearance of the people, which was showed by them, Allah Almighty said to the believer, فَيَسْتَحْيِي مِنْكُمْ. Allah Almighty has said this wording, that He, taking care of your sentiments, He feels shy to stop you from that. So, without any purpose, for a very long time to stay in a house, don't disturb the house owner. So on one side, Allah the Almighty has mentioned the noble example of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, his high standard of hospitality. And on the other side, he has also pointed out to the guest as well and commanded them that when you are guest there, then you should not exceed your limits and your rights. And there are rules and regulations and boundaries for the guest as well. Those, you always remain within that boundary. And there is a need to always remain within that boundary. And the guest as well, they should not exploit their status of being the guest. And while the status of the workers is there to serve them, and with a very high moral and constraint, they have to perform their duties. And sometimes this is such a high standard that a person is really left very much wondered. When we see the example that when a person comes, the Holy Prophet ﷺ would look after that person, and in the morning when he wants to leave, and if he soils the bedding, then he washes that bedding with his own hand. The companions, they say that please also enable us to perform this duty. We are present here. Why do you bother about that? He would say, the Holy Prophet ﷺ would say that he was my guest, so therefore it is my responsibility to take care of this thing. So this is the highest model which nobody can compete. On our Jalsa Salana, our members come, and also those who are non-members and other people come, and all the people, they are very of good morals. Or they come here to learn about religion, or regarding Islam and Ahmadiyya, they come here to gather more information. The human weaknesses, everybody has some. If there is some misunderstanding at any point, or some overdoing at a certain point, so we cannot say that these people are immoral or their intentions are not right. These are the human weaknesses, and that is which results in some type of misunderstanding here and there. And even if it happens, then we should tolerate that. It is quite right that Ahmadi, whether he's a guest or he's a host, he should show the good morals. But those people who have offered themselves for the service of the guest of the Jalsa Salana, they should show all the more good morals. From the workers, the patience and good morals, good behavior, if that is shown, that the other people will feel ashamed of their attitude. So every person who is on duty, in every department, wherever he is performing his allocated duty, so they should show the high moral conduct. And during these days, they should consider it as a big challenge for them. And considering it that, they should show the good morals. Allah Almighty in the Holy Quran, drawing attention to this point, Allah Almighty says, Qulu linnasi husna, that always speak to the people in a nice way, in a decent way, and politely you speak to them in a nice way. This is the fundamental instruction which finishes all the troubles and difficulties, misunderstandings, and this principle is not only for very special occasions, but it's a permanent law in principle and guidance. And when a person is used to it, then the misunderstandings and displeasures, all these things, they cannot remain there. So the host and the guest, both of them, here and everywhere, they should always remember this instruction of Allah Almighty. And particularly during these days, do act upon this instruction. Because this atmosphere of the Jalsa, we have to make it a pleasant atmosphere here together. So that for the purpose for which we have gathered here, that should be fulfilled. And that purpose is that we have to improve our spiritual and moral condition. We have to improve that. And these morals are the things which to those people who come here, that will become the means of attracting those people who come here. This is a silent preaching to those people. The guests and the workers as well, they should be presenting this silent preaching. The Holy Prophet ﷺ says that in the scale, from the good morals, there is nothing heavier than that. And also this thing, that the one who is having a good morals, and that is able to get the status of the fasting and the prayer, that is mean that he is enabled to have the good qualities, and especially when he is given this ability, and for the sake of the prayer of Allah Almighty, then you should pay attention to prayer. Allah Almighty, and you should be grateful to Allah Almighty that according to the instruction of Allah Almighty, that I am showing the good behavior. And this gratefulness draws the attention to worship. So in a way that one is enabled to perform the good deeds in a better way, and one goodness leads to another, and one is enabled to perform more and more good deeds, and one goodness breeds into so many other goodnesses. And particularly these workers, they should particularly make it a point that whatever is the way of treatment of the guest, but these people, they should always be having a smile on their face, the workers. And then the result of that would be going to their hearts. And there will be no hardship, no stiffness in the heart. And when there is no such a hard attitude in the heart, so then wrong decisions will not be made, which sometimes are done when a person is extremely excited. The Holy Prophet ﷺ, on this high status of this Holy Prophet ﷺ, a companion says that I have never seen a more smiling face than the face of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he has also advised his followers that be kind and be courteous, and the one who is deprived from that, he is deprived from all the goodness. So now if all the people and the workers, everybody understands this point, so then because of the blessing of this atmosphere, then the goodness, they would be filling their, their hands with that, and laps with that, and those who serve that diligently. But still, if somebody feels that somebody is taking care more and I am being given less attention, so then this thought should also be removed from the hearts. And along with that, on behalf of the workers, in order to remove this thought on the part of the workers, and also I would say to the participants of the Jalsa, that in this very big arrangements of Jalsa Salana, as I have said, that these are all being done by volunteers. And these people are not our employees. Some are having very good jobs, and for the service to the guest of the promised Messiah, with a passion saturated with that, they have offered their services. And similarly, there are some youngsters who are in secondary schools or in universities, they are studying there, the boys and girls both, and similarly the children are there. With a passion, with a dedication, they offer their services. If here and there, if there is a shortcoming, small shortcoming, so then they should simply ignore that and keep one objective in front of them, that purely and for for the purpose of listening to the matters mentioned by Allah Almighty and His Messenger, we have come here. And when this objective is there, so then there is no room for any sort of person to have this sort of feeling. There is a whole arrangement of Jalsa Salana. Various departments are there, and to carry out the various responsibilities in order to facilitate these arrangements, there are people there. If some guest, if he looks at a shortcoming in one department, that the way his hospitality has not been offered, or the way he thinks it should have been given to him, or he thinks that it is his right that he should be given this hospitality, and that has not been done, so they can simply write to the in charge of that department instead of picking it up with those workers or arguing with them. So if this year that shortcoming is unable to be rectified, the next year that will be taken care. And the Jamaat administration, this is the beauty in that, and this should always be the case, that these weaknesses which are being pointed out, they should try to remove those weaknesses for the future, and that should be done. A very important department of hospitality is to prepare the food, the langar, as it is called, the kitchen. Special food is prepared, and wherever the Jalsa takes place in the world, or at least in those places where the Pakistani and people are in a large number, and except there are some other food as well, which are especially prepared for the the people, the foreigners. That means that non-Pakistani or not Indian people. So these people, as I said, that Pakistani or Indian origin people, so these special foods are prepared for them. It is aloo gosht and dal, the lentil and the potato and meat, that is prepared for others. So the people who prepare, they should also keep in mind that we have to give them the food. But the people who serve, they should take care that the food is properly done. Especially the meat is it should be properly cooked. It should be done like that. I came to know that yesterday the meat was not properly cooked. There were few guests, so therefore not much complaint has come. But if the same condition is today, then the administration regarding this one, they should think it very seriously, this matter. And if the quality of the meat was bad, so then the administration should immediately take an action that the good quality meat is provided here. I do hope that the mehman, the guests, are not going to complain about that, but if they do, so then it is a justified complaint on their part. But the complaint should not be with a feeling of anger in that. Rather, it should be with love. They should draw the attention of the administration that this is the weakness, and you have to look after that, and otherwise the food is wasted, which is wasted away, which we are asked not to do so. And moreover, the participants of Jalsa should also pay attention to this point, that the Holy Prophet ﷺ has said that Islam, one beautiful teaching of Islam is that a mu'min, he abandons the vile thinking and talking, which is vain. So this Jalsa, the promised Messiah ﷺ has described it purely for the sake of Allah. In that Jalsa, everything which is vain and useless, one should try to abstain from that. And also they should abstain from wasting over their time. And the programs of the Jalsa, they should be listened very carefully. The speakers, whether you like them or not, the topics are always fixed like that, which are very needful, in the need of the time. And in every speech there is something always which definitely affects the heart of the people in one way or the other. So therefore listen to those speeches carefully. Then you will get the benefit of that. Except in very extreme cases, don't go away from Jalsa. And as the attendance I see at this moment during the Jalsa, in each program, the attendance should be just like that, so that the children and the youngsters, they should appreciate the importance of the Jalsa, and they should also connect themselves to religion, and they should strive for that. In this current atmosphere of worldly atmosphere, the children, the youngsters, to draw the attention of the youngsters to religion and to connect them together is a big task that in front of us for the parents, and special attention has to be paid by the parents. Every mother and every father should strive for that. Allah Almighty enable all the people to do like that. So far as tarbiyat is concerned and connecting the people to religion, the most important thing is the worship. And for that, Allah Almighty has made 5 times prayer compulsory for us. The programs of the Jalsa, and because of the people are traveling, lot of people are there. Nowadays we are combining the prayers. So it is very essential to perform that and also advise the children regarding that. And if the children are in Hadeeqatul Mahdi, then do bring the children with you. And Fajr and Maghrib and Isha prayer, if they are not here at that time and they have gone back to their homes, so then they should go to the nearest center or Salat center or prayer and go for the prayer. And if the houses are away from the mosque or the Salat center, so then in the houses they can arrange for prayer in congregation that should be done there. And similarly, the workers, those who are free at the time of the prayers, they should come and they should join the congregational prayer. And those who are on duty, those people after finishing the duty, first thing they should do is to offer their prayer. And the people who allocate the duties, the administration or the in charge, whosoever is there, they should also take care of this thing. That duty should be allocated considering the timing of the prayer. And it should not be that because of the duty, the time of the prayer is gone. The shift should be such that one shift and the other one, they are able to offer the prayer in congregation. If we do not pay any attention to our prayers, then all other things that we do, they are vain, useless. And administratively, there are certain things. I would like to say something more on that point. Those people who come on their cars, they should cooperate with the administration, and the place wherever the parking is required or they are asked to park the car appropriately, and it creates to some problems. Cooperation should be there, and some people insist on parking the way they like, and sometimes they pick up argument with the workers, and that is detrimental to the arrangement. And sometimes these things they create certain worries and anxieties as well, and this danger is also there. So similarly, apart from the Jalsa, the people who come to Masjid Fazl, on Sunday I drew the attention of the workers that they should go to the mosque, and the people who are there are the guests or the workers who are going to that area, that when they come to Masjid Fazl for the prayer, so they should park their cars in such a place where they are not blocking the ways of their neighbors and causing disturbance and pain for them. Our neighbors, I told the workers on Sunday that our neighbors, they sometimes complain that you park your cars right in front of our houses in such a way that our ways are blocked. Neither we can take our car out, nor we can bring it back in front of our house. Some of the people have mentioned to this degree as well that you say that Caliph always guides us, Caliphate guides us, and they bring the gift as well on the occasions of Eid or during the Jalsa. For the contact, they go and you talk about Khilafat. We believe that. But maybe it is a case that either your Caliph does not tell you about the rights of your neighbors, or you do not obey whatever he says. So this is something. This is it's a shameful for everyone, which the other people they mention about us. So far as I am concerned, I felt extremely shameful about that, because their thing is right. That if we do it, then some of these two things are there. So pay attention to this point and take care of this point particularly. No doubt, sometimes you may have to put yourself into difficulty, but never ever block the way of your neighbors. Don't put them into any hardship. Islam emphasizes the rights of the neighbors very much, and no other religion goes to that extent in emphasizing this point. But despite that, if some people out of them do not act upon them, that it's certainly a shameful thing, and they are sinners for that matter. And I say to those people who come from outside, from London, and they come from Europe, from Germany and etc., they come on their cars, they must take care of this thing which I've just mentioned. Some people do not take care of this thing, and I'm told that the people on duty, the youngsters, when they point out this thing to them, they also show very bad attitude and talk to them in a bad way. First, they do the wrong parking, and that is one crime, and they are depriving the neighbors from their right. And then with this attitude, they are also creating the respect of the elders is completely diminished in the hearts of those people, because then the children will also speak in the same tone, and that will be disrespect to all. So why do you put into trial these youngsters? So those people who show this sort of attitude and to spend the money and to undertake the journey, for these people it is useless thing. It is much better they should not have come here. They are damaging the cause. They are disobeying the command of Allah Almighty. And they are also spoiling the tarbiyat, the training of the children, as I have said. So in future, this point should be kept in mind particularly. Administratively, the Department of Cleanliness, and that is another important section. We have to take care of that. Always I remind about this point, that the cleanliness is a part of our faith. We always have to remember this. The guests, when they use the toilets, then they should leave it dry and clean. And sometimes there is a complaint later on that there is a lot of water spilled over, that the next person cannot use it. It is the duty of the workers. But don't leave it only to the workers. You yourself have to help yourself in this regard. And similarly, on the roads and the paths, don't throw away the cups and the glasses or tin or anything of that nature, the envelopes, nothing of that should be thrown away. And if you see some, you pick it up and put in the dustbin. Nowadays, there is another thing which is very important, that nowadays, because of the lack of rain, the grass has become very dry. And those people, and it is very likely to get fire on the dry grass. Although by cutting that, the effort has been made to cut the grass and to use it for some other person, but some incident can take place. So care has to be taken about this matter. Therefore, the people on duty and the workers, they should be paying special attention that no fire and no spark should be thrown on the ground. And this is the reality, and the reality has to be mentioned openly if somebody is in the habit of smoking. So he should smoke outside the boundary of Hadeeqatul Mahdi, not here. And don't understand from this that I'm allowing the smoking, and this is one of the weakness and bad thing, and one should try to overcome and to abstain from that one. And I have mentioned many Friday sermons on that. Hadhrat Massih Maud has not declared it as unlawful, but he has at the more not liked it. Rather, he has shown his displeasure on some occasions, and he has asked his followers to abstain from that. And those people, sometimes they put some drugs into it, and by sitting in the wrong society, that is of course forbidden and haram, unlawful. And from the security point of view, you always keep your eyes open inside the Jalsa and outside. If any mischievous person is there creating any mischief, keep an eye on that. And anything doubtful if you see, or anything you see somebody is behaving in a suspicious way, then always any member of the administration who is nearby inform them. The ladies should also take special care of that. That if the lady covering his full face should not be coming like that. And on the gate, the scanning process should be done properly. They should look at their face, and the security requirements should be fulfilled. And for scanning, and there should be special arrangement for scanning. If it takes a bit longer time, and the guests have to wait for some time, there is some difficulty. So they should have to go through that difficulty happily. And the care and the security is definitely very much important. From the lady side, sometimes the complaint comes that there are ladies with children, small children. The noise that the children make, they go to the marquees with such marquees with children, and sometimes the mother gives them something to eat, and some special food is given to them. So sometimes later on they are playing quietly, but the mothers now think that the children are silent, but it is our responsibility to make a noise, and they start talking to one another. And sometime during the speeches of the Jalsa, they are talking to one another, and there is a great noise. And those mothers who want to listen quietly, they don't allow them to listen quietly. So this is the particular point the Lajna should take care of that in the children marquee, and the noise of the children can be tolerated, but not the noise of the parents and the mothers. Similarly, this complaint is also there from these ladies, that some ladies in the main marquee, during the proceeding of the Jalsa, they are talking to one another, and those girls who are asked them to keep quiet, they reply very curtly, bluntly, which is not appropriate, which is not right. Allah Almighty enable all the people to get maximum benefit from Jalsa, and all these things which have been mentioned, and all these guidance which has been given to them, enable them to act upon them, which I have given, right? And also it is mentioned in the program, the copy of the program. But remember one thing, that on all these instructions, the most important thing is one, and that is, which is a compulsory for everyone, and that is the prayer. For the success of the Jalsa, especially pray for it. Allah Almighty, out of sheer mercy and blessing, make this Jalsa extremely successful and free from all types of vicious things, and we get all these blessings for which we have assembled here. And similarly, I want to tell you that Review of Religions, like every year, this year as well, on the exhibition on Turin Shroud is on display in their marquee, and similarly, Al Kalam project, along with that project is also going on. And regarding archive, there is an exhibition that is would be worth seeing and increasing their information and knowledge. And moreover, this will the Department of Tabligh UK has arranged the exhibition on Tabligh and on Quran. I hope this will be useful for the people see that. And 2 websites today, True Islam and Rational Religion, they are going to be launched today. Shubat and Department of Tabligh on the noble character of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, online speech competition has been arranged. The people are participating in that. This is a very special feature of the Jalsa, and they have started from today. Anyway, these are the programs of the routine in the Jalsa. This is something apart from that, the exhibitions and the programs, and people should try to benefit from that. Allah Almighty enable all the participants that the prayers of the promised Messiah, they should be able to get all the blessings from those prayers.